Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Way too much fun. Way too much fun.
Artlist.io.
All right, one more.
Artlist.io.
Oh, way too much fun. All right, I gotta adjust this. I can't be on this. I can't have this silly hat on the whole time. I gotta adjust my camera. I couldn't get my camera far enough away so I could be like right and have the hat on. So those of you that were here early, you got to see the hat. All right, here's what I want to know. Oh, where'd it go? What is going on in your Facebook group? Now, before anybody is like, oh, this is Facebook group stuff, I don't have a Facebook group. Wait, don't go anywhere. You are still going to be able to learn some things in this live that you can apply to your profile and your pages. So this is not just Facebook groups, even though we are focused primarily on Facebook groups. So help me out. Tell me what's going on in your group. So I did a poll earlier this week and asked how often you're posting. Does anybody get stuck figuring out what to post? And pretty much all of y'all, whoa, is that not a Texas thing to say? All of y'all said, I'm posting every day. And it was kind of mixed. Yeah, sometimes I run out of things. Sometimes I get stuck. Sometimes what's going on. What I want to know is what kind of results are you getting? So you're posting every day. You're putting in time and energy and effort to figure out what to post. You're posting things. What's happening? Are you getting comments, engagement? Are you getting people who are reaching out to you and asking questions? Are you getting people who are interested in signing up for your lives and your events and even your offers? Is what you are posting working? Give me some notes in the comments because we're gonna use that here in just a little bit, in just a moment or two. Okay. So if you are new to my space, we've had a number of new people join. Welcome. So glad you're here. My name is Jamie Hain, and I am a video and growth coach, and I specialize in Facebook and Facebook groups. And I will tell you, 2 years ago, this group, the group that you are part of, was dead. We're talking not even crickets. It was so bad, I almost just like gave up. And I was able to completely turn around that group. It really came down to a number of things that I sort of figured out when I started challenging myself. And I will tell you, in the beginning, I was full of excuses, I promise you. I had every excuse in the book, including I don't have the right people, nobody in my group has any money, and Facebook sucks. All of those things were said by me at one point or another. And when I finally got the courage to kind of turn it around and look at myself and say, okay, I own this. What am I doing that's not working? What do I need to change and do differently? And so if that's you and anything that we've talked about so far is what's happening in your group and you feel some of this stuff, and again, if it's not group, it could be your page, I'm going to encourage you to do some audits today. And what I mean by an audit is I want you to go back and look at what you're posting. I'm going to give you some specifics here and really, try to put the excuses to the side and say, what can I control? Because you can only control what you're doing. You can't control Facebook. You can't control the people in the group. You can only control what you do. And there are some things that you may be doing or not doing that can make all the difference in the world. Okay? All right. So let me see what some of the things, before I talk about my mistakes, let me see what you all are saying here. You all like the Santa hat and my dancing. Be glad I wasn't singing. Okay. Feels very slow. There's change happening inside the groups for sure, right? And I will tell you, Facebook in general has been not well. Glitchy things are not working right. And so whenever that happens, if you ever watch the movie The Matrix, it's a glitch in the Matrix. Facebook's making algorithm changes, code changes, and things get wonky for a while. It does settle back down. Now, that does not mean that we're going to return to what it was months ago. Facebook is always going to be adjusting and changing that, and we can't control that. And so complaining about it helps no one. I know, I like to complain with the best of them, but it's not going to turn around your group. You've got to do that. You've got to drive some of those changes. Okay, so we're going to talk about that today. Okay, Stephanie Lee says, pretty much the same people comment. Yep, you're stuck in a loop, and that can happen. So what do you need to do in that instance? You proactively start reaching out to people, commenting on their posts, even on their personal profile, and that will change some of that, right? The Facebook algorithm is doing what it is intending to do. So the way that an algorithm works, you know what, we're going to get into that. I'm going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that. I promise. Okay, Diane says, I was here then. She's right. Oh, I'm glad you stayed. Okay. So what I want to talk about is the two big mistakes or ahas that I recognized. Are you ready? You ready for them? Okay. Number one, all I was doing was talking at them. Every post, everything that was going into my group was me telling them something. Now I might have mixed it up, and I might have had some inspirational stuff, some teaching stuff, some promotional stuff, but every single post was me doing the talking at them. And that may work on a page, but it doesn't work in a group. What you've got to recognize is that, well, I'm going to get into that too. Hang on. I'm going to get into that. Okay. Mistake number one was I was doing all the talking and I was not encouraging my members to participate. Okay. Number two, I had no point to my group. Okay. Those of you that have worked with me one-on-one or in any of my programs, you hear me talk a lot about intention and purpose. And knowing what your intention and your purpose is, that applies to your group as well. It applies to your profile the same way. What is the journey that you are taking people on inside your Facebook group? All I was doing was it just existed. The group was just here, do things. And when that little secret is missing, that's exactly what's going to happen. Why would somebody want to hang out in your group if you don't even know what they're going to get by being there? It's a little harsh truth, but it's real, okay? So what I want you to do is do a little bit of an audit. This is audit number one. I'm going to give you two today. Audit number one is I want you to go back through your posts, a week's worth, 2 weeks worth, you decide how much. And I want you to just look at it from their perspective. Are you giving them things on which to engage? It is the number one thing I see when I do audits. And if you want me to do an audit of your space or your page, your profile, reach out and we can talk about it. But number one thing I see is that you all are doing all the talking. and you are not giving them anything on which to comment. We're going to talk about specifics here in a little bit, but I want you to just do that audit number 1 first. Is go and look and say, am I doing some of this? Or have I missed it? Have I missed it? Okay. Let's go through and talk about some of these in more detail. So the first, I'm going to talk about the second one first, which is this whole idea of I don't have a point. There's no journey going on inside of my Facebook group. Okay. So what you want to do first is clarify your intention or purpose, not for you, for them. Why should they be in this community? And I know sometimes we can get caught up in, it's a great space and people are awesome and it's safe. And yep, all that's great, but that's not what they want. They're already in communities that have that. You're trying to convince them to leave a community that they're in and be more active in your group. You've got to sweeten that pot a little bit more. It's got to be more than just, it's fun and people are so happy here. There's got to be an actual tangible intention. What are they going to get? What's the purpose? Okay. You can even define the journey. Many of you, especially those of you that are coaches, but even if you're just a service-based entrepreneur and you do websites for people or you create graphics for people, right? There is still a client journey that you take people on when they work with you, right? There's a starting point and an ending point, and it is a journey that you take them on. You got to create that in your group. Now, it's not the whole journey. Otherwise, why would they buy from you? It's a piece of that journey that you can clearly communicate. Now, when you do these things, your content creation becomes so much easier because you have a map. You have a plan. Here's where we're going. I'm taking people from here to here inside my group, even if they never buy from me. And once I know that, now figuring out what I'm going to do with my content each and every week, each and every month becomes so much easier because you had a map. It's like if you're going to go on vacation, you have a plan, right? How am I going to get there? Where am I going to stay? Where are we going? What are we going to do? Even if you don't plan each and every single hour of that vacation, you have some sort of plan. You need the same thing in your Facebook group. Because if you don't have that plan, every day you're trying to figure out, what should I post? What should I talk about? Oh, it's excruciating, right? If you have never taken my content pillar training, it is still free through the end of this month. So if you want it and you've never gotten links to it, just type content pillars in the comments and I will get you the link. It's 2 videos. I think they're about an hour a piece, and it'll start to help you map out this very thing. What am I talking about in this space, and how do I start to pull those parts and pieces together? Okay. Now, if you need more help with this, whether it's designing your content or figuring out your journey, you got a couple of options here. Whoa, lost my mouse there. Number 1 is how about that one? I am open enrollment is happening right now for Ignite Your Facebook Group. We'll talk about it a little bit in a minute, but Ignite Your Facebook Group is really about helping you understand all the pieces of turning your Facebook group into one that works for you as part of your business. So are you attracting the right members? Are you getting them to comment and engage? Are you getting them to share? Are you getting them to sign up for things and show up for things? Are you promoting and converting and selling? And all of those parts and pieces, that's what you learn inside of Ignite Your Facebook Group, including this content piece, okay? This is the last point that it will be at this price point. 2025 is going up in price. Why is it going up in price? Because there's so much value in that thing that it's worth more. But this is the last opportunity to get in at this price. We do the next one starting in January, okay? If that's not for you, you can always book a power boost, or I've got some other options that I'm thinking about. If you just want a single session and you want targeted, focused help on, I got to get my content right, or I got to get my journey right. So those are options as well. If you need that help, just message me, reach out, and I'll get you links and whatever else you need. Okay? Okay. Oh, that's from last week. That's leftover from last week. Okay. Any questions about this journey and figuring that out? Drop them in the comments. All right. Some of you are wanting the content pillar training. I love it. The pillar is the bomb, Sherry says. It helps so much. Oh my gosh, it's so nice when you just like know exactly what you're going to do every single day. Okay, let's talk about this guy. Too much telling. This is what happens when you are doing all the talking. Every post you are talking at them. What you need to do instead is ask more questions. Simple, right? But my guess is when you do that audit, you're going to realize, oh, I'm not asking as many questions as I thought I was, or you're asking them in the wrong place. So let's talk about that a little bit, okay? First of all, the whole point behind asking them questions is to get them to engage on stuff. The way the algorithm works, let's talk about this here for a second. The way the algorithm works is you serve up a piece of content, okay? A post, a video, a reel, it doesn't matter what it is. You're posting this thing, okay? This is content. Little Grinchy, okay? What Facebook algorithm does is it says, okay, let's see what they do here. So it takes that content and it puts it into the feed of maybe, these are not real numbers, I'm making this up, 5 people. And then it waits and it says, let's see what these 5 people do. Do these 5 people engage on this piece of content? What Facebook's trying to do is it's trying to only serve up what it deems as quality content. The only metric they have for quality content is engagement. So do people like it? Do they love it? Do they comment? So what those 10 people do, then Facebook goes, ooh, this is good stuff. Look at all these comments. I'm going to give it to more people. And that continues until it reaches this point where it's showing it to people's feeds and they're not engaging on that content. And that's when it dies. Okay? So if you are not asking them questions to get people to type and comment, that post is dying too early. So back to what I think it was Stephanie said, is it's the same people commenting and nobody else is commenting. Okay? You could be caught in this loop because you're not asking enough questions and it might not be the right questions. Okay? All right. So where do you start? Start by asking questions that are only there to ask questions. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about color block posts. So let me pull up my phone. I am talking about posts like this. Okay, it's a question, color background. You just create them right inside of Facebook that people want to answer. Then your job is to start conversations in the comments. Okay, so if you are not getting engagement, this is the number one thing you can do, is start adding some of these color block posts. Okay, and by the way, for those of you that are going to join me in Ignite, we're going to do 2 things. One, you get a list of I don't even know how many hundreds of different engagement questions you can ask. Some are fun, some are business related. And you also get, and in fact, those of you that sign up here this month before we start in January, I'll even give it to you earlier so you can start this month. I've got a little system that helps you turn around a dead Facebook group. It is a 3-week, can be extended to 5 if you need it, how to turn around a group that is completely dead. And all you're doing is using these color block posts. Okay? Okay. The other thing that you can do here is start asking questions at the top of your post. So if you are doing a post, it doesn't matter what the post is, whether it's let me pull one up here. Okay, there's a promotional post for next week's live masterclass. The very first line is a question. Okay, even if it is I gotta scroll here. If an edit, I've got, oh my goodness, here. Let me find one. Doesn't have to, for goodness sakes. Okay. Okay. Or if it's a photo with some text, question is the first line. Why? Because if you see here, you can't see the whole post. A viewer has to click on this see more button. Where is it? Oh, I'm on this side. See more in order to read the whole thing. So if your question is at the bottom of a bunch of stuff, some people don't even see it. They just are reacting to the photo or the graphic that they see. So if you can add a question at the tip top, you will be amazed at the difference this makes. Okay? Okay. So I want you to do another audit. And I want you to look at How many questions are you asking? Count them up. Go for 2 weeks. No, date your piece of paper 1 through 14. If you're posting every day, you got 14 posts to look at. Of those 14 posts in 14 days, how many of them are either a question or start with a question? My guess is you're going to have some startling ahas in this activity, okay? The other thing you want to look at is, are they irresistible? What is an irresistible question, you may ask? So glad you asked. An irresistible question is one that I'm like, I have to answer this. I have an opinion. I have to share. You want it to be easy. Now, so I know sometimes people talk and they're like, I want it to be, I like heavy, rich, thick conversations. Yep, you do, but you don't start there. That happens in the comments. That happens in the DMs. That happens on your calls. Social media, you got to remember, is people are sitting in their comfy chairs, they're laying in bed at night, and they're scrolling. And it's something has to stop that scroll, and it has to be to the point where they're like, ooh, I can answer this. Because this takes work. It takes work to comment. If you're giving them hard questions or boring questions, it's not going to work. Okay? So what you're asking matters. Okay. What questions do you have about the questions? What questions do you have about questions? And the audit that I'm asking you to do. If I were to ask you, to be honest here, what do you think you're going to find when you do those audits? Do you think you're smashing it with your questions? Or do you think there's an opportunity there? Drop in the comments, let me see. Let me see what you think is going on. I got out of my group here, so now I can't see comments here. Oh, come on. Let's go back here. Okay. Comments. Okay. What say you? What do you think? Are you good at this? Not good at this? Let's call it an opportunity. Is there an opportunity for you to get better at this? One of the things that I love Jasmine Star. I know I talk about her a lot, but one of the things that Jasmine Star says all the time is that your social media, what you post, is the start of the conversation. The magic happens in the comments when you can ask more questions, when you can go deeper, when you can have those rich conversations. And you go from the comments over into Messenger and you go even deeper. Oh, that's the best. That's when you're forming real connections with real people that are interested in who you are and what you do. And you've got to show that you're interested in them. Okay, this whole point about being more intentional and purposeful and asking more questions is about getting your audience to share with you, and it's showing them that you care about them. Make sense? Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Definitely opportunity. I hear you. I'm changing a bit since I had an audit with you. Yes, and if anybody else wants an audit, you got a couple of different options, speaking of the audits. So there is just a review audit. Those are $97. I think I got a slide here. Hold on. Where is it? Yeah, you can do just a review audit. Those are $97. That's where I go and look at your group or look at your profile. It's about 10 minutes of me just poking around. And then I'm going to message you feedback here. And we'll go back and forth in Messenger and talk about what we saw, okay? If you want to actually have a call with me, those are Power Boosts. They are $127. That is an hour-long Power Boost. If you want to do a 30-minute one, it's half that price. And we would do the same thing, only we would get on Zoom and we would talk about what I saw. So as Kimber says, they're really awesome. And it can be really insightful to have somebody else look at your content. It's that whole thing of the pickles can't read the outside of the jar because they're in the jar. And sometimes when we're inside our Facebook group, we can't see what other people are seeing. So the audits, these self-audits are super helpful if you can see that, if you can look at it from that perspective. But if you want an outside person's opinion, I love doing audits, so let me know. Okay, what else did we have here? Shut that off. Okay, what else do we have here? I know I talk too much because I want to educate. Okay, yes, very true. I want to learn how to ask more questions. Okay. So first of all, Stephanie, come to the next Ignite call because you've been in Ignite. By the way, you can repeat Ignite over and over and over and over again, as many times as you want to. So Stephanie, you've done Ignite in the past. Come to the next Ignite call and I'll help you with this, okay? you are absolutely right in that your goal is education. But here's what happens. If all you do is educate, what's happening is nobody's buying because they don't need to. They got plenty of stuff that they're being educated on. My niece used to say that all the time, educated, that they don't need to buy, right? The other thing that's happening is they are just listening. They're being talked at. It's like the Charlie Brown teacher, over and over and over again, right? And especially when you're talking about a Facebook group, we want to be part of it. We want to engage and participate and share. That's why we join a group, is to be part of a community. Hope that makes sense. So it's about balancing both, right? And we talk about this in Ignite. I've got a little Venn diagram that I draw that helps you understand how do you mix up the different types of posts that you do in your Facebook group so that you are still educating, but you're bringing in these other components, okay? Okay. Let's see what else it is. Tracy said, I never used to ask questions, but I'm way more mindful now. Check out my newest video just added to the group. Oh, nice promotion. Very good job. I will check it out when we're done. That's exactly what it is. And I will say this on the whole mindfulness. Oftentimes we type a post, and then at the very end of that post, we ask a question. If that's your process, leave it. That's great. But then what I want you to do is copy that question at the bottom and stick it up at the top. It allows your audience to know where you're going. This gets back to that journey and that intention and that purpose. What are we trying to talk about in this post? And what do I want to know from you? Why is it relevant? It's almost like all of last month we did hook, story, call to action. Oh my gosh, I just realized I never sent that out to people. Big aha. Hold on. A number of you asked for the replays from the November sessions, and I did not send them out. So if I don't make a note, I will lose it. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I've already forgotten once. Okay, if anybody's listening and you're like, ooh, I might want November's links, just type the word November and I'll get them to you. So in November, we went through and we talked about how do you get people to show up to your lives? How do you get people to comment on your lives? How do you get people to comment on your posts? And there was one that was on how do you apply hook, story, call to action, which you've learned inside this group, to posts. So when we talk about put that question first, that's the hook. And the hook is what reaches out to the world and says, I want you to read this. It's what stops the scroll. It's what makes people go, ooh, I want to read this. And questions are a great way to do that. That's why you put them first, okay? Okay, let's see what else we got here. Sherry said, started color book posts. Yeah, we talked about that either last week or the week before in Ignite. So I'm really excited to see what kind of results you get, Sherry. So exciting. Okay, Kimber says, when is Ignite? The next round of Ignite starts in January. We haven't picked a day and time yet. Typically what I do is I wait until I've got like 3 or 4 people enrolled, and then they get to pick the day and time, and we kind of go back and forth until we find one that meets everybody. So as soon as we have 3 or 4 people enrolled, I'll communicate what day and time it is, and then yeah, we do it that way. Hopefully that makes sense. So we'll probably start second week in January. Let's get past the holidays. That's probably the plan. Okay, no more questions. All right, what else did I want to talk about here today? Hold on here. Okay. The other thing that you want to do when it comes to getting people to comment is look at variety. So while you're doing this audit, I want you to just, again, this takes, I know sometimes it's hard to not criticize, but to effectively look at something and say, what would somebody else see? I got a friend request from somebody today. And I did accept it because I feel like, ooh, this might be somebody that I could help. But here's what was happening. As I scrolled through she was posting, this was on her personal profile, not even in her group. Every single post looked almost exactly the same. And I mean, I scrolled through probably 10 posts. It was like same. Okay. So you want to look at what are you posting in your group and on your profile, and am I mixing it up? Because you've got different people with different personalities and different likes and dislikes. Like, think right now, what are posts that you love that you always stop and comment on? And what are posts that you were like, yeah, scroll right on by, right? So there are people that will often tell me, oh, long text posts. Like, that's usually the kind of post that seems to get some, either you'll love it or you hate them, right? I love them and I read them all. I read them only if it's a certain person. I can't stand them and I scroll right on by. Your audience is doing the same thing. So if you're only posting the same things over and over and over again, they're bored. So you got to mix it up. Okay, you got to mix it up. The other thing that happens here, and I did a whole video on this a while back. If you want the video, just type the word Canva in the comments and I'll get it to you. And this is not a smash on Canva, but if I were to stack rank content, Canva graphics very near the bottom. And oftentimes we spend hours creating in Canva, right? And everything is Canva and we stuff it, jam-pack it full with words and text. And what happens is most of y'all's audiences scroll right on by that. Now, I'm not saying never do Canva. I still have my pro version of Canva. I love Canva. It's about mixing it up and having variety, okay? So if every one of your posts when you do your audit is graphic, 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 this is part of what you've got to change in your strategy, okay? Okay. What questions or ahas have you had today? And most importantly, what are you going to do as a result of this? I'd love some comments. So type in your questions. What lit up? What was I talking about today that you went, oh my gosh, I got to do this? And what action are you committed to taking? We'll come back and we'll look at what you say here. But I want to talk about a couple more things while you all are thinking about that. Okay. First and foremost, next Thursday, I am doing a live masterclass. It's 90 minutes. It's next week, Thursday at this same time, but we will be in Zoom. Okay, so it's on the 19th, same time as this, 12 Mountain Time. And you're gonna basically learn some tips and tricks and insights around how to grow and monetize your Facebook group. So today we've been talking about content. Last week we talked about content in other people's groups. Inside of this 90-minute session, we're going to talk about how do you grow, how do you get more people in, and how do you make money from it, okay? So if you need the link, because you are not yet registered, let's make this easy. Just type the word grow in the comments, and I'll send you the link, okay? All right, we talked about Ignite already, but let me sweeten the pot a little bit, okay? So Ignite as a program is $797. That is a 12-week group coaching program with unlimited access to me during those 12 weeks. So you can ask me questions, you can get help, and it has unlimited access going forward. So if you want to attend it again and again and again, you can. But like I said, this is the last time it's going to be at this price because it is such a valuable program. I'm going to give you two things. Oh, where did it go? Number one, I'll take $100 off. That makes it $697. I got payment plans for up to 12 months if you need it, which makes it ridiculously reasonable. I'm also going to give you 3 30-minute power boosts during those 12 weeks so that you and I will get on a Zoom call and we will specifically talk about what's going on with you in whatever we're talking about inside that program. Now, these two bonuses, the $100 off and these 3 power boosts, you gotta purchase by the 20th of December in order to get the 2 bonuses, okay? Which means you got this week and next week to sign up and get those bonuses. I will also give you that how do I turn my group around with color block posts? I'll give you that early so you can start doing it now in December. And I also have a pre-recorded video that I'll give you that's about how do you think differently about your offers so that you can start making money right away. So I'll give you all of those bonuses, okay? Okay, let me know if you have any questions on that. All right, so what did we talk about today? And don't worry, I'm gonna come back to your stuff. Don't worry. Okay, so number 1 is ask more questions. Start asking more questions in your group, on your profiles, especially those color block posts. Put those questions at the start of your text posts, okay? Number 2, be intentional inside your group. Figure out what your content strategy is so that you have it mapped out for the whole year. We do this as part of Ignite. So if you need help doing this with us, that's part of Ignite. And it also helps you know, what am I posting? When am I posting it? And we'll even talk a little bit about how do I make sure that I am making money as I'm figuring this out? How is that connected there? Okay. And then the last thing is make sure that you have some variety in your posts. If they're all the same, if they all look the same, if they all sound the same, this is what's going on. This is part of the challenge that's happening. Okay. All right. So let's look at your questions. Let me see if there's any questions coming up. Okay. Okay. What is Ignite? Christine, I just talked about it. I'm not sure if that question came before I talked about it or if you joined after I started talking about it. So tell you what I'll do. I'll just message you and I'll tell you what it is. It is a 12-week group coaching program. It's all about Facebook groups. So one of the questions that has come up is, what if I don't have a Facebook group? Can I still do this program? Yes, you can. But what I'm going to ask that you do is I have an hour-long video that helps you get your group set up for the first time. So my ask would be that you follow that and you get that set up before we start in January. So you got a little bit more pre-work, but I have had several people do this Ignite program that are starting their Facebook group from the very beginning. The cool thing about that is you're learning all the right things to do from the get-go. So you don't have the bad habits that you've got to course correct. So it absolutely works for people who are just starting, okay? If you already have a Facebook group, it is about taking your Facebook group from where it's at right now, however you define it, right? Maybe it's dead, maybe it's crickets. Maybe you're getting pretty decent engagement, but you're not selling anything. Maybe you're getting a handful of comments, but you want more comments. You want more people showing up live. That's what you're going to learn inside of Ignite. Okay? Okay. Okay, Tracy says, I think questions are how people know you're having a conversation and not just teaching. Yes. So that goes back to, I think it was Stephanie's question about I'm educating, right? Even when you are educating, people learn when they apply it. Okay. So you notice inside of my trainings, inside of even these lives, my Zoom calls, I ask you guys a lot of questions. The whole intention is that when we self-discover on our own, that retention happens easier. We remember it easier because we had a aha moment. And that happens when you ask more questions. Okay. So instead of thinking education is separate from questions, think about integrating them, right? Those of you that have been on Ignite, remember that Venn diagram that I drew with the sweet spot in the middle of all of those concentric circles, right? That's your objective. That's your objective. Okay. Sandra says, I'm going to start putting questions at the start instead of the end. Awesome action. I love it. I love it. Okay, Christine says, I suck at stories. Okay, you know what helps? ChatGPT. ChatGPT. As part of Ignite, you're going to get access to 2 different GPTs that are going to help you with this. If you don't want to join Ignite and you don't want those GPTs, you can just go into regular ChatGPT and say, I'm working on this video. Help me come up with a story. And he will. He will. I honestly, sometimes I think, what did we ever do before we had AI? It has been so helpful. I know, I pride myself on being pretty good at stories, but it just helps me get story ideas better, faster, easier. That's what I love. That's what I love. Okay. Sherry says, dang, that's a steal of a deal. Thanks, Sherry. That's just fun to say. Steal of a deal. Okay. Angela says, ahas, ask more questions at the beginning, color block posts, using Canva too much. Yep. So I want you to just recognize, I just saved you a bunch of time. If you're spending hours and hours and hours creating Canva graphics, you're welcome. I just saved you time. Okay. Okay, Kimber says, are you doing this call weekly? I heard you say you're doing a 90-minute live next week. Oh, here, hold on. Okay, yes, let me explain this. Okay, next week, there is no live training next week. Instead of being live in this Facebook group, we will be on Zoom. In order to get the Zoom link, you have to register for that live masterclass. So I can get you the Zoom link, okay? It's 90 minutes. And we're going to talk about growing and monetizing your Facebook group. That is free. There's no cost for that, okay? If you need the link to the live masterclass to join me in Zoom, type the word grow and I will get you the link. It's also on all my places. So go to my profile or the group. You'll be able to find it. I think it's in both banners, okay? I think I'm answering your question, Kimber. If not, let me know. Okay. Okay. Sandra says, I think you were going to touch on the algorithm. Okay. I touched a little bit. I actually have a whole video where I talk about how the algorithm works. So if you want access to that video, just type algorithm in the comments and I'll get it to you. But essentially, that was where I said, this is your content, and how does the algorithm serve this up, and how does that all work? I think I covered it in maybe a minute on this video, but I did a whole training on it that's probably, I don't know, 20 minutes long, maybe 30 minutes long, just on the algorithm and how it works and how it changes and how those things. So if you would like that, let me know. Okay. I don't think I've missed anything else. Okay, last chance. Questions? Comments, commitments. I don't think I've missed anything. Let me look at my notes. Okay, your call to action. Do those audits. I would, in fact, why don't we do this? Just so that we drive it home. If you're going to do an audit, I want you to comment, audit. If you want some more oomph behind it, type, I'm going to do my audits. Commit to it. And there's power in writing it down. I know for me, if I need to make a note, or if I want to write a commitment, if I journal, if I write it down, if I take a note, if I write it on a Post-it note, it I don't know, makes it more concrete. So I want you to do that here. What commitment are you going to take around doing these audits? Are you committed to doing it? And what I would say is, just so we don't get confusing in here, if anybody wants me to do an audit, if you want some help with that, what I would ask you to do is message me. And then we can talk about what that looks like. I'll send you links and we'll figure it out from there. Okay? Okay. Here's what I want you to do. It is December 12th. Now we got the holidays going on, and I'm interested to see what happens this holiday season. Is it going to be lots of people engaging, or is it going to be super, super quiet? I don't know what's going to happen, okay? So let's just say 30 days post-holiday. Let's just say January. Where do you want your group to be then? At the start of today's training, I asked you, where is your group at now? What's happening now with your group? How is it feeling? What's going on? How would you describe it? And so if you weren't on at the beginning, I want you to think about that right now. What's currently happening in your group? Are you getting people to comment on your posts? Are they posting their own? Are they asking questions? Are people reaching out to you in the DMs? Are they signing up for your live events, for your workshops? Are they buying your programs? A Facebook group can be such a powerful tool inside of your sales funnel. And they're free, but you got to know what you're doing in order to, maximize your Facebook group. So what's happening right now? Now I want you to fast forward and imagine end of January. What's happening in your group? What is going to be different between now and 30 days from now, plus the holidays? If you want this to be different, then you've got to change what you're doing in that group. And it takes a strategy. If you remember, 2 years ago, this group, dead, totally dead, nothing happening, crickets. And now it's really, really highly engaged. People are posting, people are commenting, people are showing up for things, people are buying my programs. I have wait lists on different things. You can have this too, okay? I was in the same place you are right now. And through trial and error, I figured out how to get to this point. And you can figure it out through trial and error too. It took me a long time. Or you can work with me and let's make it happen easier, faster. Learn from me and the mistakes that I made and the things that worked and the things that didn't work. But if nothing else, commit to yourself that things are going to be different by the end of January, that you're going to do things differently, that you are going to figure out what to do. It makes me sad when I think about groups that are not getting the same level of engagement that I'm getting, when it is so possible and it is easy to make happen. So I would love to have you come and join me in Ignite. I would love that so much. If there's an obstacle, something getting in your way, talk to me. Let's talk. Okay? All it takes is a conversation. But if you don't take action, if you don't move forward, you're going to be in the same spot at the end of January. You're going to be in the same spot 6 months from now. And you'll be in the same spot a year from now. And that's just sad and tragic, right? We need to be growing and getting better at the things that are trying to help us drive our business and make money. And you can do that. And I have every confidence that I can help you with that. All right. If I don't see you next week in the Zoom call, Have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in January. All right, guys. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.